I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Ash? Ash? Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Alien, dude.
What's that?
Alien?
Alien the movie.
Yes, Alien the movie.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about that?
No, I was just saying, like you said, can you hear me? Whenever I hear someone say, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It makes me think of Sigourney Weaver saying to Ash when he
Ah.
when she plugs him back in
Mm-hmm.
with Parker and Lambert at the end where he goes haywire and she's just like, Ash, can you hear me? Ash?
Okay. Gotcha. Thanks for the context.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. Context.
Mm.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Oh, fantastic. For what time is it?
Yeah.
7:30.
Thanks for doing this so early.
You're welcome. Only for you and nobody else will I ever do this for. Just an FYI for you other kiddies out there. Hey, TikTok Patriot, how are you? All right. Here we are, my friend. You are one Mr. Donald Mattingley from Paris, France.
Well,
Who
in
can-
Paris, France. I don't know if I would claim from.
Well, right now you're from there.
From there, yes, coming to you live from Paris.
Excellent. And you currently play in a band called Concord, do you not?
I do.
Excellent.
Counselor. Am I under
Uh, We'll,
oath?
we'll circle back to Concord, okay?
Okay.
All right. Uh, this doesn't have to be like, Clapton and in the Tom Dowd thing where you go, Eric Clapton born March 27, 1945. You don't have to do that. We don't need to know. Just tell us who you are.
Well, you introduced me. I'm Don Mattingly from Paris, France, and I play with Concord. That's who I am. Yeah, for the purposes of this interview.
Excellent, excellent. Did you bring me my toe? That's a better question for you.
No, but I can get you one. I can get you a
Thank you.
toe with blue nail polish.
Yes. I'm gonna need it by 4 p.m. today, though.
All right, that might cost extra, but I know a guy.
Dude, we're not even 5 minutes in, and I'm rolling already.
All right.
We're never getting through this. Okay. In all seriousness, I'm gonna
Yes.
get on with it now.
Okay. Serious face.
Yes, yes. What was your earliest memory of music in your life? Like
Oh,
dating back to you as a kid, like what was sort of,
yeah. That's
I
an awesome
guess,
question.
well, one defining moment that you could think back to where it's just like,
I have
okay,
one. Yeah, that's an awesome question. I love that question. I remember very vividly. I guess I'd be about maybe 4 or 5 years old in Tucson,
yeah,
Arizona, being in the living room of our house, my parents' house,
yeah,
and my dad had he had like a little tape recorder with that came with a microphone from back in the day. You know those little tape recorders that were like that size. And anyway, he loved to like tape conversation and stuff, but it had a little microphone with it. And I remember lip syncing to "Burning Love" by Elvis.
excellent.
So that's and which is a song I still like a lot. But yeah, that's a early. And at the time, if you would have asked me, I'm 5 years old, what's my favorite song? It would have been "Hunk of Burning Love" by Elvis.
That's awesome, dude. That's
Because my
fantastic.
dad had a nice hi-fi system and a lot of Elvis records. So I just from a young age, I remember hearing a lot of Elvis. And for whatever reason, that one struck me as a 4 or 5 year old kid.
Right. So that was like the earworm that got in your brain. That was like That was sort of the song that just bit you.
Yes, yeah, and, yeah, I didn't ha you know, at that age, you have no idea why, you don't know, what instruments are playing, or at least I didn't, or have any context to place it in, like, musical genre or anything, it didn't matter, it was just a cool song.
Right, right, right. And something obviously you couldn't escape from it. It was just like you were probably walking around your house humming it all the time.
Yeah, I just remember having that microphone and kinda, like, lip syncing to it for my mother, so
That's hysterical. That's great. So, from that, when did you first get introduced to the guitar?
well, the guitar didn't come until about 8, 9 years later when I'm around 13.
Oh,
And
okay.
my uncle had this beat up old Sunburst Gibson acoustic guitar, and I remember going. My uncle lived in Simi Valley, California, just north of LA, and
Mhm.
remember going over. We would go over there like once a year to visit our family, and he would. I remember him busting out that guitar and playing Hank Williams songs, and then like a year later, after I first remember him doing that, they came over to our house, and then my dad and my uncle and I went out and they bought me a guitar, an electric guitar. But at
What?
the time, I didn't have any concept of guitar players yet. I really didn't. I didn't get it because I was like, "Oh, I wanna be Jimmy Page or something." I just got it because it was like, "Oh, my uncle plays one of these, and that seems interesting," and my dad was gung ho for me to have one, and, "Okay, cool. I'll go get one."
Right, right. Okay, so you went and got so okay, so you go to the like music store
Yes.
with your dad and your uncle, right?
Yes, and they don't really know anything about my uncle knows something about guitars, but my dad really knows nothing, right? My uncle is kind of not hasn't bought one probably in 20 years at that point, right?
I was gonna say, lay out the scene for me.
Yeah, so that there was this little, like, old, independent music shop in, Tucson
Yeah.
in a strip mall, and there's this guy who owns it, kind of this guy with, like, a bad haircut, older guy, jazz player. Like he's this guy who really, the kind of guy that would really into Mel Bay books, and arch tops and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love jazz guitar, but that was kind of like the genre there. This wasn't like a hair. This was the '80s, so the hair metal was everywhere. You go to a different guitar shop, you might have had a different experience, right? But
Right.
that was the guitar shop that we fell upon because
You
it was the
eat
closest.
right. You either got like the hairband guy or you got the Herb Tarlick guy.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Is
I
that
had
a good
Herb.
way to put it?
I had Herb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You got the used car salesman, dude.
Yeah, and for some reason, though, the guitar I ended up getting was very much a hair band guitar. It was like
That's what I
me
wanted to know.
metallic blue with some kinda graphite black neck, and I came home with this crate amplifier, which a lot of kids in the '80s had, solid state crate amplifiers.
I had
Tiny
PV, man.
Yeah, it's equivalent of a PV, right? Probably not quite as good.
What
Uh,
do you remember what year that was specifically?
it would have been 1988, I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you got
87,
going
88.
you got going 3 years after me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's about our I think that's about the difference in our age too, right?
54.
Yeah, well, I'm 50, so
Okay,
there
so
you go.
4 years. All
Yeah.
right. Um, that's what I figured because when I turned 21, you were still a senior in high school, weren't you, when we met originally?
Yeah. Yeah, or just freshman in college. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to that. We'll
Yeah.
get to that because
Yeah.
that's gonna be some fun stuff.
Mhm.
So all right. So you get this, you don't even know what brand it is. You haven't like
It was
like
called it's a West Tone, but I have no idea. Like, I don't think that exists anymore, West Tone.
well, neither does I had an Aria RS2 Pro or what was it? Aria Pro 2 RS Night Warrior that was made
Okay.
that was made in Japan.
Yeah, this one I think may have been made in Japan too.
They don't exist anymore either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gone with the Schwinn.
Yes. And if it did exist, it would be made in China as some kind of knockoff. But yeah, in that era, they made things like that in Japan. So it was quality, right? I mean, it wasn't a
No,
piece
it
of
wasn't.
junk.
No, it wasn't a piece of junk. My first
Mhm.
guitar wasn't a piece of junk at all.
But mine had like the Floyd Rose, all that locking, which
I had that too. Yeah. Well,
everything had
that
that.
was like the in thing, dude. You couldn't get it. You couldn't get away from that in the '80s.
Right? No, it was typical.
I mean, Gibson and Fender were like not in vogue then.
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they weren't.
I mean,
That's probably
like
a low point.
it was a low point. The vintage market had bottomed out at that point. Like
Yeah.
Ace Frehley was selling his like 59 burst for like 150 to $250, dude.
Yeah. Can
And
you
I mean,
imagine?
like seriously, it was not good. Um, so you got okay. So you get the guitar, the amp. You come home. You're what? You're 13.
Yeah, 12 or 13.
And do we take private lessons, or we?
Yeah, Herb also gave lessons. So and sold the Mel Bay book, so I'm
I love
going
it.
there. I'm going there with some lessons, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have any particular interest yet, in terms of like the guitar, like I said. So, but that was going to change really soon. Things changed very shortly after that.
So okay, how many lessons in were we when things changed shortly after that? That's what I'd like to know.
I don't know, but once again, I remember the moment. So it couldn't have been more than a year after that.
Okay,
Um, maybe a year and a half. I think I was around 14. It must have been around 1988, 89, somewhere
you're
in
like
there.
eighth grade.
Yeah. Well, like eighth grade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eighth or ninth grade. Anyway, once again, my uncle's involved because my uncle is kind of like this. Uh, he had a huge influence. He was the second person who had influence on my musical taste after my parents, right?
Okay.
Because he had like tapes of Stevie Ray Vaughan and things like that, right? And he was a big BB King fan. He had seen Chuck Berry live. He had seen Elvis live. Because he'd lived in California, Southern California, since the 1950s, and so he was a country music guy. He's from Arkansas, but he also had kind of this taste for rock music. He knew who Cream was, and my dad didn't really pay any attention to anything like that.
So you could say that your uncle was really the bigger influence here on you as a as a teeny bopper.
Yeah, my dad was an enabler because he was happy to buy me the guitar, so I don't want to cut him out of the credit. But my uncle was the guy, like kind of. So my uncle came over, and I remember we watched this movie called "Hail Hail Rock and Roll," which
I
was
Yeah.
you know the movie where Keith
Yes.
Richards. There's a lot of scenes with Keith Richards like smoking with a lamp right here and talking about what an asshole Chuck Berry is being.
Yes.
Because it was a birthday. I think it was Chuck Berry's 60th birthday party
50th.
that.
50th.
So they were throwing this big concert celebration,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
For his 50th birthday.
there's a lot of outtakes you can find on YouTube now and stuff, but we watched the movie on like a VHS, right? We rented
Right.
it or something, and my uncle
Right.
was probably the driving force behind wanting to do that. And there's the Eric. This is the first time I've ever seen Eric Clapton, and he comes out and he plays
Wee
"Wee
hours.
Wee Hours," and he just plays the solo that it's like the first time I ever heard guitar, right? He's got that big fat Gibson, which he never played again or played later in the From the Cradle tour, but differently with slide. He plays it like never seen him do it before or since. And he's probably plugged into some kind of blackface Fender, which wasn't typical for him either. But always gets the greatest tone because the tone's in his hands. And the solo is just amazing. He's got, of course, this awesome backing band with
Right.
Keith Richards and Robert Cray and Johnny Johnson, and it's just this killer version of the song.
You know that's Steve Jordan on drums, right?
Steve Jordan, yes, Steve Jordan on drums. So you just have this killer band, and Eric comes out, and as he's wont to do in these situations, he just lays waste to the place
Right.
uh, with this guitar solo that's just it's burned into my mind.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
it's like, oh, now I understand what this thing is.
the other unique thing about Eric in that the practice footage,
Yeah.
not the concert footage, he's playing a slab board rosewood Strat.
Yeah, which you
He
never see
never
either.
plays. He
No.
never plays that.
Mm-mm.
Um, I have a feeling that that Strat was probably Keith Richards.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
That Richards had there, and Richards was just like, here's a Strat. Why don't you use it?"
Yeah, because he rolls in and just hands it to
Because
him. But
Eric would never have shown up with that Stratocaster.
no, never. No.
Exactly. It would have
Mm-mm.
been a maple board,
Yeah.
57, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what
And
it
that,
would have been.
by then it probably would have been his signature, right? Because that was about 87 that was recorded, I think. But if not, it would have been something along those lines.
It would have been Blackie still.
Yeah,
He
could have been Blackie. Yeah.
they were I don't
Because it's
87 they had started, or 86 maybe they had started
I think
production, I
in
think.
'86 because in '86 he had the band with Greg Gaines and Nathan East, Phil Collins, and
He had the prototypes.
that's when he was started touring that guitar.
So
Yeah,
you're right, he would have had them.
yeah, he would have had the first ones around that time. Anyway,
And
it's super Clapton geekery, but you know,
oh yeah. And the first ones only had a 15 dB boost,
right?
not a
Yeah,
25 dB,
yeah,
which came later in ours. I had
yes,
a 25 dB in my 92.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
had 25 in my 90.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's very cool. So your uncle was really the driving force in your influence in your more formative years.
Yeah, because then I remember maybe a year or so after going over and staying with my uncle for a couple weeks with my uncle and my aunt, my grandmother, who all lived together. And when they were at work during the day, I would just like raid my uncle's tape collection. And so and he's got BB King and Albert King and Cream, and I
You're-
started discovering all that stuff.
for the first time.
Yeah.
And what did you think hearing that stuff for the first time? And like that was some pretty heavy stuff.
Well, I remember, I mean, there was this live BB King with Bobby Bland that he would play in the car when we were driving around. And that was pretty awesome to hear. And then there was a live Stevie Ray Vaughan version of Texas Flood. So that's the first time I ever heard Stevie Ray Vaughan was Texas Flood live in my uncle's like Honda Civic on a
Yeah,
tape deck,
it was probably from Live Alive.
Yeah, and it was just like that was pretty amazing to hear. But yeah, all that stuff and then that was about the time where Eric Clapton blew up again with the Journeyman album. So that was it. Just all kind of cascaded for me.
Did you like? I guess when did you come into? Well, you got the Clapton in '90 then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
90,
what
91, 90, 91, around 16. So, so that was right around that time.
was that like? Was that in lieu of a car? Sweet 16.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it was my dad just liked, I think he kind of was living vicariously, he
He
loved to buy
was
stuff like that.
well. I think so. Your dad was like tickled pink that you were like playing or
Yeah,
learning.
he just thought it was he likes stuff and he thought guitars were cool things, and
Do you?
he's right. He was right about that.
Yeah. Do you remember your first private lesson with Herb Tarlick specifically? I'm curious
They
about that.
Vaguely, it would have been him opening up a Mel Bay book and him telling me like I'd probably had the guitar neck like pointed towards the floor, like the typical things that you do when you're beginning and you don't even know how to hold it. I just remember him like telling me how to hold it, and but he was very traditional teacher. Like it was never gonna work, like reading notes and playing, uh Red River Valley or whatever the songs were, and
Right,
it wasn't an approach that it was a very old school approach.
right. So that's, I mean, yeah. So it doesn't surprise me. Like, so after you figured like what you took. a year with this dude? Not even?
I I don't even think it would have been that long. I got a different guitar instructor not long after, who before I even got I think before I even got into the electric guitar stuff, at some point, I got an acoustic guitar next, a pretty nice one, and started trying to learn some, like, James Taylor,
Okay.
fingerstyle. Again, that was my uncle's influence who really liked James Taylor, and so I would have been and then just probably learning how to, I remember having a bluegrass book, that the next instructor I had was kind of a country bluegrass guy, and that I started to get into a little more, right? Because that it had tab and it was a
Oh,
little
okay.
more
So
you could
this
you
so
pick
this
it up more
instructor could
quickly.
actually teach you like tablature.
Yes, he was a little bit more with the game,
He was a little
and
bit more modernized.
especially for that time, right? And so I started to like that wasn't necessarily my choice to learn that stuff, but I wasn't opposed to it either because it's bluegrass guitar is really cool.
That's cool, TikTok Patriot. Thank you. Um, wow. This is stuff I'm learning about you for the first time. We've never talked about any of it.
Yeah, I know we haven't. We don't talk about this normally.
Um, all right. So you're in high school now. You're playing. Are you meeting like other high school kids with the same interest? Like, have you jammed with anybody yet? Like, I mean, dude, look, at the point of being 16,
Yeah,
I had already played with a few people.
right.
So that's why I'm curious what your high school experience like. I had to transfer high schools to play in high school jazz band.
Yeah,
So I'm curious as to I know your experience was different from my own, so
yeah.
lay it on me.
Well, I remember having a guitar class at school too, in high school,
Oh, that's cool.
that I signed up for, and so there was some kids in there, and then there were a couple of my friends, play. There was a friend of mine that wanted to play drums, so we would, and so we kind of had garage band experiences in Tucson, but not playing. None of us were that good. We weren't ready to like perform for anyone. So it wasn't like one of those great stories you hear about these kids getting together and suddenly, playing gigs. We were far away from that, but we were playing together. And I had other kids with interests and started to get exposed to some other music like Rush. I remember I knew this kid in high school who was a drummer, and of course he loved Rush. And I remember getting together with him and playing, and he wanted to do Rush songs, which I was totally incapable of of doing, right? But, it's still fun to play with him, and then yeah, so there was that kinda stuff. I remember that Finnish exchange student in the guitar class who loves, metal,
Yeah.
which yeah. I mean, most of that's our era, right? I was the weird kid that I had gotten into this blues and kind of blues rock, and I liked Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eric Clapton and, BB King, and most of the kids were at that point were into, metal or, like or
Shame
pop,
on
some
you,
kind of pop
Donald.
metal. Yeah.
Shame on you. The
Yeah.
shame. The shame that you brought the house of Mattingly. It's the
But,
same shame that I brought the house of Konevsky.
yes. Yes, we brought the shame upon our houses.
The sickness of the blues.
I remember you telling me that tell me if I have this correct. I remember you telling me that one of the songs that got you live to the guitar, or at least, you know, that really captured your attention early on was Tales of Brave Ulysses. If I'm do I have that wrong? Or at least the wah
Mm-mm.
wah guitar.
You don't have it. You don't have it wrong.
Okay.
I was at. I was in. It was seventh grade, junior high. One day at recess, lunchtime. Um, a friend of mine was listening to his Walkman, and I asked him. I said, "What are you listening to?" He goes, "Cream," and I said, "What?"
What?
He
Yeah.
goes, "Cream." I'd never heard of them before. He goes, cream again. And he says it like laughing at me, like I'm the fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm the fucking moron that doesn't know cream, for God's sakes. So he's just like, here, dude, just listen. So the first thing I hear is like the Tales of Brave Ulysses, and I'm just hearing a wow, wow, wow. And then,
Yeah.
then he hits the chord and just takes off into this blistering lead with the fluttering wah,
Yeah.
because he flutters it at the end, you know?
Yes. He was
Um,
really good at fluttering the wah too.
yes, yes, yes.
Evenly.
Yes. So I was just like I had Tourette's for a minute.
Mhm.
And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many guys is that? He's like, three. I'm like, holy shit. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm like, who is it? He's like, Eric Clapton. I'm like, who?
Yeah.
Eric Clapton. So after school that day, I went home and I went into my brother's room because he wasn't home yet. Because that's where most of the cool music was in our house, was in my brother's room. And lo and behold, there was a tape. The very best of Cream. Ah,
Yep.
you bastard! You've been holding out on
Holding
me.
out.
I can't believe you.
That's the part of the story I particularly remember was you going in your brother's room and finding the best of cream. Yeah, the very best of cream. Because I had the same one. That's the first cream record I got. Oh yeah, I always remember that about you. The Tales of hearing Trail of the Bravely Leslies and being like, oh my God, what is that?
The Clapton Strat. I'd like to hear about that.
I do remember going into Rainbow Guitars on
Oh, you
Campbell,
went in. Okay, so you went into Rainbow. All right.
the original Rainbow, and it would have been Harvey who helped us at that time because it was smaller then than it got later, remember? And
But he was
yeah,
still in the strip by Here's Music, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was pretty small shop, but he had, full of quite nice gear.
Right.
And, and yeah, I remember that pewter Strat hanging on the wall, and with the red tag on it, and it was I think it was 895,
Oh my
which
God.
yeah, which was expensive, at the time. And I remember also it had an issue with the input jack right after I got it. Like it was crackling like crazy. And a lot of them did. I think it was something to do with the circuit.
Interesting.
And so my dad takes it back to him, and Harvey's just like, I'll give you a new one. I'll give you a different one. That was his
Yeah.
approach. I'll take it back. I'll give you a new one. That's
Oh,
unacceptable. I'll give you a new one, which was, pretty cool. And so I
right.
got another. I got another one. Now at the time, who knows? I didn't have enough experience to be like, oh, this one is this weight or this like. Um, I just wanted one that didn't crackle, right?
Right.
So I got another one, and that one ended up crackling later, but it took a while, right? So
But you were able, like, you took it back and got it resolved, obviously.
he resolved it quickly, and I do remember that guitar. I remember I struggled to play that guitar. Like I never really bonded with it as much as I wanted to because it had those very small vintage frets, and it was pretty stiff, you know,
As far
from
as the
bend.
tension goes.
The tension was really felt really stiff.
That's why I
Except
sent that one back.
yes, when you said that, I was like, I know exactly what you mean on that one that you bought. For some reason, it's a combination of the setup and I don't know what else, but sometimes some of them just feel stiff. And that one did. So years later, I kept it for a long time, but I ended up selling it at some point. Regrettably, I wish I still had it.
You didn't ever like you knew I changed the frets on mine.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, because I would come play yours, and it was a totally different experience. But yours was also you had an exceptional one. Remember, you had one that rang acoustically like crazy. And you just had one that was one of those that, for whatever reason, had the magic sauce. They were the same era. The two we would have had. The second one I had was a 91.
Yeah.
So they had the same neck profile and everything.
Yeah.
Same pick.
They're, yeah.
Yeah, they were the
Yeah.
same guitar, but yours just rang like crazy that you had.
And, and it was funny because I remember when I called Harvey on the phone, I was in Scottsdale when I called Harvey on winter break and I said, I'm interested in getting this guitar from you. He's like, I don't have it in stock. I got to call Fender and get it. It was the last one that Fender said that they had. That's what Harvey
Yeah.
told me. So he got it. And then I just went and I came back to town and picked it up.
Well, that was the original custom shop too, which is just like a tiny operation in
Right.
Fender.
Those, yeah, those guitars were original custom shop guitars because they didn't have a full blown custom shop at that time.
Right.
So artist signature guitars from that period were custom shop guitars. They
And
just
they had
weren't
it.
they just weren't branded as such.
Right. No, they weren't. They were just a signature.
Right. But
And
like yeah,
oh, I remember yours and mine. They both had the original neck profile, which the off the shelf ones now have a slightly more generous neck profile than those original ones that we had.
mine mine was closer to a C. Like the
Hmm.
B was like very slight, like not even
Light
there.
V. Yeah.
Um the one that I just played had much more of a V to it towards the headstock.
Yeah.
But like, as you went up, it C'd out.
Yeah.
Um, so whatever. It was just more pronounced than what I've experienced in the past. There have been some that were made where the V's were very severe. I don't know if you remember about the time when he was making the white
Yeah.
Strats for the Nothing But the Blues.
Of course I
That
remember. Yeah.
it 94, 95, the Eric Clapton off the wall Strats that were coming into the shops had a very severe V all up and down the back of the neck.
Yeah.
Like it was to the point where it was just like almost like pinned in the middle. Like there was like an edge in the middle.
Yeah, which is Martin has too. The
Right,
triple O
right,
twenty Martin has a very pronounced V like that. Yeah. Which
exactly.
I don't find particularly comfortable for me.
No, I don't either.
Mhm.
I definitely do not at all.
Mhm.
Um, that's very cool. So you were how old when we met then? You were a senior in high school, weren't you?
Was it 92 or 93? Right around there, 94? Which year
90,
was it? Year
1993.
3. Yeah, so I would have been 17, 18. I think I was just going from high school to college. I think I was about to start, or I just started. Because I feel like it was Paul Calandrello who introduced us,
Correct.
and
And
he knew you. He was like a year older than me, or two, and so
uh
he was already at the U of A. And anyway, he put us together because he's like, this guy really likes Eric Clapton, and this guy really likes Eric Clapton. So let's put these guys together. He was
yeah,
right.
Paul, right. Paul was in my 3D art class,
Yeah.
and I also think he was in one of my art history classes as well. I think we had two classes together.
Okay.
And I remember he set up our meet and greet at
Some
some
church
church.
or something. Yeah.
You
Really weird.
remember?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So you're all right, you're there. I'm late,
Yeah.
if I remember this correctly. Do you
Probably.
know?
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you I was late, and I'm gonna tell
Okay.
you why because I probably told you after the fact,
Yeah.
but I'll tell it to you now on camera.
Mm.
Here's why I was late. because because um before before I went to meet you, Dawn came over to my apartment and got in my bed with me.
Oh, yes, I remember you telling me this, yeah.
Yeah. So I like I'm sitting there and I'm lying down to a girl I want to be with who's basically made herself at home in my place, okay?
Yeah, I gotcha, and then but you have
Okay.
this appointment, and you're like, "Oh my
And
god," yeah.
I'm like, what time is it? And she's just like, it's blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, holy I'm like, I have to go. And she's just like, what do you mean you have to go? And
That's
I'm just imagining to this girl that I am the biggest douchebag imaginable
yeah,
for
right,
running
yeah,
out
yeah. "I gotta go play
because
guitar."
I need to go jam with this guy that this
"I
other
don't know."
person
Yeah,
set up for me. So we'll have to get together later.
yeah,
And it was later, but
rain check.
rain check. Yeah. So I almost didn't go and meet you.
That's yeah, it's fateful, right? I mean, that really could have if that like, if you never showed up, we may not have ever met.
No,
Awesome.
because had I tried it again, you probably would have told Paul, forget it. I
Yeah,
don't want to meet him.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to meet him. He's a flake. So then I get there, right? I come in, and you're probably going like, I can only imagine like you're seeing my appearance, and I know what I
Yeah.
looked like back then.
Oh, yeah, like a black crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were probably like, dude, were you like, did you have a WTF moment?
Yeah, probably. I think, I think I was just more this is way before the internet, right? So it's just
Right.
exciting to meet someone who might share the same enthusiasm for something that I had. It was like, I didn't really care. Like, you could have looked like, an Ewok or, Chewbacca. It wouldn't have mattered. Like, you were rolling in with a guitar, and we were gonna like jam, and you were gonna talk about guitar heroes. So I was just like very enthused of the idea of meeting someone.
So, what did you think when I took up this when I took out the Seven Up Green EC
Well,
Strat?
it was just like, oh, this is brother from another mother. It's right. I
Bingo.
mean, especially for that at that time, right? So it was like, oh, this guy, I get exactly where this guy's coming from.
Now you had, if I remember correctly, you had the Toneworks stuff that you were playing through.
Yeah, I think yeah, with the Mesa Boogie cabinet and a Toneworks head, which I got from Harvey.
Yeah, and I had a Mesa Boogie Mark IV combo amp,
Yeah, yep.
which I wanted to
That's
throw off my second story balcony.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but that's besides the point. Anyways, so we start jamming, and Paul. Okay,
Paul's a
our
third
friend
wheel
of ours,
immediately. Yeah.
is supposed to jam with us. Yeah, that didn't
No,
last very long at all.
no, no, no.
He I don't think he even played but 30 seconds with us.
Yeah, because he was just a sheet music guy. He was like, I'll read this piece, and we were both like, "Hey, let's play Sunshine of Your Love." And it was just
Oh, because I was probably like, what do you know? You know?
I don't remember what we played, but it must have been some stuff like that, right? It probably was
I know
Cream.
I remember Badge specifically,
Badge would have played, yeah,
where you and I were just like so locked in.
yeah.
Everybody in the room was just like pretty much in awe of what you and I were doing. I really don't think we said more than two sentences to each other the whole entire time, to be honest.
Well, it wouldn't have yeah, no, it wouldn't have we wouldn't need to. Yeah, just we wouldn't why waste
I, th-
time?
I, I think we just went.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, just probably named out songs, or you could just start playing something and we just played it. So, yeah, that was awesome. Great experience. So yeah, to answer your question, ultimately, like what you looked like didn't matter. I just as soon as we started, playing, it was just like, oh, I this guy's awesome. And I
I
remember
just
right away being struck by your like how assured you were on the guitar, because you were much more confident and just advanced from me. I mean, I was getting there, but and I could jam with you, but I wasn't. You had this extra level that you had already reached, and so it was inspiring. Uh, it was like, okay, this is something to try to here's somebody who's already been studying this stuff, right, and already is starting to master it, and I'm just at the very beginning stages.
see we hear things differently because I was always very impressed with your natural ability from the get go. Whereas I have some natural ability, but not not like your natural ability.
Well, it's just a different. I think it's just it's different. Everyone's got their unique approach to it, but you have this like internal metronome that is just, especially when you're playing live like that and jamming together, you're like a drummer and a guitar player, right? You can like do both. There's a time being kept, which
Yeah.
especially when you're just jamming with a couple guitars, you don't have a drummer, you don't have any kind of other percussive instrument there. That's like really helpful
Yeah.
to have someone like that, because otherwise it just becomes garbage pretty quickly, right? I was so loose on my timing that it was much better to play with you because you weren't you were on it.
Well, I spent like probably a couple years practicing with metronome, to be quite honest, because of my time with Raul at Milano Music in Scottsdale with private lessons one on one with him.
Hmm.
And always like he was like very early on, he was like, get this metronome, start practicing your scales. When I had started learning with him, I was picking all downstroke, and he's just like, you got to correct that shit immediately. He's like,
Yeah,
your first instructor like screwed you. He's like, you picked up a bad. He's like, you got to alternate your picking. I'm like, what? He's like, you got to correct a bad habit.
yeah,
That was painful.
but it was good teacher. Yeah,
He was
yeah,
an amazing teacher.
yeah,
I mean, had it not been for him, I mean, he was Master Yoda, dude. He gave me the keys to the kingdom.
yeah, got you on the right path.
Yeah, I mean, like, because of him, that's why I had the confidence to, like, what you were seeing was his teaching coming through my playing.
Right.
That's what you were witnessing, really. Was him giving me that ability to go and play with anybody under the sun.
Yeah, no, I
Because
remember that.
because ultimately, like, that's really what I wanted to be able to do, was to be able to hold my own with anybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, it served you well, and also it was great when we would go to some of those jams that we would do later on.
Well, okay, so that brings me to my next point, which is like, okay, so after we ditched Paul, we agreed like, hey, next time let's just leave
Yeah.
Paul out of it. And I think the next time we played was at 431 Olson Boulevard at my apartment.
Yes. Yeah, it must have
Yeah.
been. Yeah.
We were so loud in that place. Do you know
Well,
how loud we were?
we were always loud in that era,
Do
always.
you, do you think we were louder there or over at the Boys and Girls Club in Scottsdale when I had
Probably
my Soul
the
Cactus band?
the Boys and Girls Club in Scottsdale, maybe even louder. Yeah, because I had the huge Victoria and
You had the low powered Tweet Twin, and
low
I had the
powered.
double deluxe.
Yeah. I don't know, but then on Olsen you had that dual rectifier. So
Yeah, I had the dual rectifier and the 50-watt plexi.
yeah. And
I
you
I
had the
had plenty
Marshall
of brain
power
damage.
brake that you burned up. Yeah.
Yes, I had
Uh,
plenty of hearing loss, plenty of brain damage.
But that's just how it was, right? I mean, there weren't many we it was still an era where you didn't have these lower powered amps, and I wish we would have known then what we found out later, which is that you all we needed really were a couple of champs, right? But we hadn't copped to that yet.
Well, I when I got the 335, I bought that champ from Harvey.
Yeah, that was the first champ among us, right?
Right, which later I wound up selling back to Harvey, and he wound up selling it to Ron Wood,
Yeah,
who used it on their MTV Unplugged thing. How about
isn't
that
that
for
cra- that's crazy. Yeah.
you? Isn't that crazy? Yeah,
Well, that's like the Asher guitar that I have that wound up with the one that I ordered, but it wound up with Jackson Brown.
there you go.
Yeah, that's as close as I'll get.
So after we were like we had played, I was doing my band Killing Floor,
Yes.
and you had come over to this was like in 94. I remember you came over a couple times. Once you came over, you had the Vibro King with you.
Yeah.
Speaking
No,
loud,
loud.
non-master volume amps, loudest piss amps. All right, the Vibro King, designed by Bruce Zinke, who put Fender back in the amp game. Let's face it, because he not only created the Vibro King, but he created the Tone Master too.
Yep.
And everybody that year or two was using those amps by Fender.
Oh, they were fantastic. I mean, compared to the crap that they had been building for many years to that point.
Oh, the Vibro King is still a great amp,
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Gary Clark Jr. is still his touring app, and Eric Clapton used one for a while.
right? Um, but like, how did you go from the Vibro King to the Matchless Clubman 35? Because I remember the second time you came over to the house, you had this Matchless Clubman 35. And I didn't know what the hell it was, but the thing lit up. And I was just
Well,
like, well, that's cool. It's good sound. I just didn't get it until I saw the Black Crows use it a year
mm,
later or 2 years
yeah.
later. And I was just like, wow, Donald was on it right from the start. I'm a dumb shit.
Well, the appeal of that was exactly what we were talking about. It was master volume, so you could get it to break up and sound great at a reasonable volume. And so and it was very extremely touch sensitive at a tube rectifier, class A. So
Hand
it
wired.
was hand wired. And yet it didn't make your ears bleed, or at least you didn't have to make it ears bleed to get a great tone. So I remember, for whatever reason, Guitars Etc. in Tucson had one. And I went in there and started messing with it and realized quite quickly that it was something different, right? And something special, and wanted it immediately. I ended up trading, I think, the Vibro King for it.
Got it. Got it. So, but who like? So yeah,
But I
guitars,
didn't see
etc.
anybody, and I didn't see anybody playing it at that point. I hadn't
No,
seen like
nobody was playing them. They were
it
brand
was
new.
they were brand new. They were early days. So like you said, you didn't even know what it was, and you were on top of these things.
I wasn't at that time though. I mean, I was only on top of what Harvey had at the shop, and he
Well, but that was
didn't have
still
matchless
right. That's
guitars,
still what.
etc. Guitars, etc. had matchless, and you were going to guitars, etc. I
Yes, because
wasn't,
it was closer to me, and that's where I was taking my lessons. So you used to spend a lot of time there.
and didn't Reed wasn't Reed the guitar tech over there though.
Yes, Reed was the guitar tech.
And
So
now Reed
yeah.
works for Harvey, and that's I see Reed now.
Well, Guitars Etc. has been closed for probably a decade, or if not longer.
Longer.
Yeah.
It might be a couple decades at this point. I hate to tell you.
I'm just I'm just old.
No, we're both middle age. It's okay,
Yeah.
but not boring yet.
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
I'm not boring. Maybe just a little. So okay, so but who like you? So you walk into guitars, etc. and somebody had to have shown you this amp.
Yeah, Adrian Schumacher, he was their main sales guy, Australian guy.
Right, I remember him.
Yeah,
Um, so you came in and he was just like, "Hey, dude, check this out. We just got these." Pretty much something like that.
something like that. Yeah, would have been something like that. You'll want to check this out. And
And you were like, "Wow."
yeah, when it's red, it was just it looked and it lit up. It was just a very much it sold
It was eye
itself.
popping.
Yeah, it was really looked really cool. It was like a Ferrari sitting amongst a bunch of Chevrolets in terms of, the way it looked in sitting in the amp room.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So it popped even before you turned it on. And then when you could turn it on and play, I remember I had learned the riff to Rita May at that point and was playing that on, and it was just like, "Oh my god, this is so
Sounds
fun."
incredible.
It's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was really fun to
yeah,
play with. And that's another piece of gear. That's one of those that we talked before about about gear that got away. That's something I should have kept.
agreed. I
Yeah.
mean, not just for you, but for me as well. I would still like to have my Clubman 35. Oh, did we lose you? I hope we didn't lose you. Oh shit. Oh,
I'm
you're
sorry.
back.
I was getting a call. Sorry about that.
Oh, no
Yeah,
worries.
that's a piece of gear that, along with that Eric Clapton's, Stratocaster, I wish I still just had them. Not that I would. I'm happy. I got more gear than I need already, so it's like it's just greediness. But those were great pieces.
Right. And I also think, like, for us, I think the Clubman 35 kind of propelled our playing into a different stratosphere. Would you say,
Mm.
like, I think it bumped up our abilities?
Well, certainly you were. I'd say that definitely applies for you because I mean that was when you were doing your trio, right? That's one of the amps that wasn't it an amp that you used a lot when you were doing your Soul Cactus trio.
Yeah, I
So
used I used it a lot. I used it to record my record.
yeah,
Um,
so that was when you were kind of at reaching your first peak, I guess, as a player. You had that amp,
yeah, yeah. I'd also started to get into Victoria too.
well, that came next, right? That was what came when you got me into that too, and the tweed amps.
Yeah. Well, that was really because of Scott Grant.
Right. Yeah, your friend Scott Grant.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
and discovering those, and that was a whole new another sound that I think is even more. I mean, it's all a matter of opinion, but I think there's just something timeless about those tweed amps. I mean, you still Matchless you see from time to time, but tweed amps are just like part of the fabric of blues and rock. I mean,
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I can't. I mean, look, I'm still basically playing a hybrid tweed amp,
right.
and my Soul Cactus signature amp is just a blend of Fender Americana in one amp. It's the
Yeah, I
best.
still got it.
It's the
It's
best
amp sitting
components
behind
of
me.
brown
Yeah.
face, black face, and tweed. All shoved in an amp.
Yeah.
And you're playing on a what? You got your what you got there for amps,
Behind me, that's a chant. That's just one of the Fender custom shop champs. So that's never going anywhere.
right? And
Um,
that's a staple of rock and roll.
yeah, I mean, you really like. Ideally, it's too bad if we would have known what we known then what we know now. But like, we would have just gotten a champ and a little tiny pedal board, and someone showed us how to use it right. We would have been good for. We could have saved a lot of money, saved our parents a lot of money. um,
Yeah,
I mean, it was fun to have all that gear, but honestly, champs are all we really, because especially going to these jams and stuff, and they were just practical. And uh,
agreed.
now, then I didn't learn that until I first moved to Paris, and it was by necessity because when I was playing in a couple of bands here in Paris, like you. you have to go a lot of gigs, in the metro, or you don't. So you've got to just carry your stuff on you. And so
Right.
there was no way I could do anything but a little amp like that. But in a little club in Paris, a champ is enough. And even I played a festival here one time and just mic'd it. Put a mic in front of a champ, and you're still good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Sound men really love it if you have a 5 or 10
Yes,
watt amplifier.
yes, they
Um,
adore it.
I mean, because like the times that I played at Iota Cafe, Jam and Java, both of those places use Soundmen in Virginia, and the shit, all those sound guys were like, "I love you, dude." They're
Yes.
like,
Oh yeah.
"Is that?" They're like, "Is that your amp?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "I love you, man."
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you can understand why. Even
Yeah,
though
I can
on the
understand.
on the other side of me, there's a Germino and a Soldano. So,
Right, you've got the muscle. It should you need it. You have the firepower.
well, I still, I mean, if I have my choice, when if there's a 412 cabinet already in place, to be able to take the Soldano is what I like to do, because that just opens up another world. But that's a different animal.
Now that's the SLO 100 you're talking about, right?
That's a SLO 30. It's the
Oh, it's an
smaller.
okay, okay,
Yeah, so it's not crazy. I mean, it's also master volume, so it can be totally. It's like the Matchless
right.
Clubman
You can be
35.
practical.
It can be practical. It can also get loud, but it has, it's very it's a useful piece of gear.
Are there EL34s in that?
No, it's 5881s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
which is
so-
like exchangeable with the 6L6, right?
right. So do you notice a tone difference there
I
without the
haven't
EL34s?
Oh, between that and an EL34, the sure. Oh yeah, there's
EL34s hit differently, in my opinion.
oh yeah, there's definitely a tonal difference, right? And I can't say I don't have an opinion that one's better than the other. It just depends on what I'm playing in a given moment, what I might like better. Um, the Soldano to me is just very useful in terms of it's got this effects loop. So, I don't have some huge uh, pedal rig with, I'm not David Gilmour. I can just press one button and it changes all four of my, four different effects. So
Oh,
having
you
a
don't
that
wait. You don't have a Bob Bradshaw rig?
right, yeah, I don't have a Bob Bradshaw rig, so
Oh, okay.
having an effects loop, and having delays and reverbs in it is just much more practical. And I've learned to embrace some of that stuff that I used to consider to be heresy when I was just more of a Tweed purist.
Sure, sure, sure. What's on your pedal board these days? What effects
Uh,
do you use between your
well,
guitar and your amp?
the longest serving pedal I think on my board is a Strymon Lex
Okay,
with
the rotary.
the rotary, which I've had for over a decade.
Yeah.
It's not come off the pedal board once. The newest addition is a Crazy Tube Circuits Venus, which is basically a kind of I'd call it an improved version of a tube driver
Okay.
that like Gilmore and Eric Johnson use. And then
Gotcha.
what else I've got? I'm getting Strymanized slowly. I just got a Blue Sky for a reverb.
How do you like that?
It's really nice pedal. Like
Okay.
Strymons pedals are just,
Diamond makes nice stuff. Yeah.
you plug them in, they sound really good. The only thing I don't like about them sometimes is they have those hidden menus, like where you gotta
Hold both buttons down and
and then
yeah,
remember which is which, and you have to go get the manual out, and that's a pain in the ass. But they're just good sounding pedals, and I've got a Strymon El Capistan.
that's cool pedal.
So that's kind of the main stuff. But there's a few other things that come off and on, like a full tone Super Trem, an MXR super comp, and a couple of Catalan bred pedals that are one is a mock-up of the EP3 preamp section
Okay.
for an EP3 unit, and one is the echo part of that. So But really, yeah, that's like a boost pedal. So I use that if I've got the Soldano, I use the EP3 pedal as kind of a basically to go from a cleanish sound to a louder, cleanish, slightly dirtier sound, right?
What do you
Like a
what do you yeah, what are you using for your wah?
I haven't. I'm going to get my wah back out. It's the same, and when I pull the wah back out, which I have, it's probably going to make all kinds of noise because the pot will need to be cleaned. But it's
Yeah,
what's the guy's name? You had one too. I don't even remember. BMC? Is it BMC? The
BMF.
guy
You have the BMF.
BMF. The BMF Derek, which sounds a lot like the whatever wah pedal that Clapton was using with the Dominoes. That was what it was made to sound like, and it sounds like that to me. So
Right. It's a modified Dunlop, dude.
yeah, it's got
It's
it.
a modified Crybaby, modified Vox wah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
essentially, that's what it is. That's what his the Dunlop Gold, that one
yeah,
that he was using on like the Journeyman tour and stuff.
yeah,
That was basically when I used to carry the RMC Teese Wahs,
yes,
the Wizard Wah that I used to use for like a long time, the red one.
yeah,
That's what that was.
mm,
That was the Domino's Wah.
yeah. Which is a great sounding wah to me. So
Yeah. Well, that's why I use the Vox one, because that to me is the closest of that sound, that era.
yeah, I've got a Vox in the closet, and I think I've got a full tone Clyde too.
I was gonna say I remember you having a full tone Clyde as well.
Yeah, they're all different flavors, but the one I've generally preferred is that BMF.
That's cool. That's cool. Uh, so I'm guessing by the end of high school, I'm like into us jamming or whatever.
Hmm.
I want to know at what point that like you're full in Claptonville, like you've discovered Clapton Town, and like this is home to me. I'm fucking planting the flag here. I'm dying on this hill, motherfucker. This is it. That's what I want to know.
I planted
Because
that flag
for
pretty
me it was
early.
Journeyman.
Yeah.
I really
Oh
was
yeah.
just like, that's it. This is
Yeah, yeah. I think for me too. There's a period of time where if you had if you're growing up then and you were like us learning guitar and getting into this, where Eric was so cool, right? Because he had that new haircut, he had the Soldano amp, he was kind of back on his game, he was sober,
yeah.
and suddenly he was ripping again. And he had this new record and with some great songs, and he was just bad
He,
love and
he was
pretending.
revitalized.
And then he shows up a few times. Like remember him showing up on the Rolling Stones tour and playing Little Red Rooster and just coming out
He
and just
smoked it, dude.
smoked it. And he's looks so cool. He's got that like leather jacket with the
With the
fringe.
fringe, yeah, absolutely.
And he just strolls out with this and he just plays this epic solo. And then he shows up on SNL. And that's like the
Yeah.
era when I'm watching SNL the most. It's like the Dana Carvey, John Lovitz era, and Eric's on there. It was just like, oh
He
my
does
God,
pretending,
he
yeah, and
does
wonderful.
pretending. And it's just with the Soldano and just he rips
Right.
the solos. And I'm just like, this guy is just cool as can
Badass.
be. He's just
Yeah.
cool. He's just so cool. That's who I wanted right then. I'm just like, this is like the apotheosis of coolness.
Did you get to see that tour?
No, I think that was I was still too young. I'm 15, so it
Oh
wasn't like
yeah,
I could.
that's right. Well, I had seen my first concert when I was like 14. I saw The Firm with Jimmy Page and Paul Rogers.
I asked my mom to if we could get tickets because I remember seeing it in the paper that Clapton was coming to Phoenix, right? So
Yeah,
we would have had to drive.
he came to the ASU Activity Center in Tempe.
Yes,
I saw it.
right. You were there. I saw the ad and but for whatever reason we couldn't do it, and it wasn't my mother's fault because later on my mother sent me to California on a plane to see my uncle, and my uncle picks me up, and we went to Dodger Stadium to see Eric with Elton John. and that was about it was 92, but he was still on it, right? And he still
Yeah,
had the Soldano, and he was still playing all that stuff. And he rolls out in Dodger Stadium playing like White Room.
he changed up the set list then, though.
He had changed up the set list and he'd cut his hair. His hair was suddenly like a buzz cut, but he still had the cool suits. It was
And he
still
was still
awesome.
wailing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you were dazzled, right?
And there was the other song because we didn't talk about this, and I really got into Phil Collins. Was one of the first things I really liked as a kid. And of course, I'm growing up. It's Miami Vice, 1985.
The
I hear
studio in
I
the
hear
air tonight.
in the air
Yeah.
tonight. Like everybody who saw that, it was just like, wow, that's just awesome. And so I still liked Phil Collins a lot. And then the same amount of time, Eric suddenly shows up on a Phil Collins video playing "Wish It Would Rain Down," and he just rips on that too. And he's just like, oh my God, he's just showing up everywhere. He's ripping with the Rolling Stones. He's going and playing with Phil Collins. He plays Nebworth. He was
He was
everywhere.
having yeah, he was having a huge moment. He was having a huge, like, few years there.
Yeah, and I love Stevie Ray Vaughan too. Um, Stevie Ray Vaughan though seemed a little bit more almost like inaccessible, almost because his sound was so
Raw.
difficult to ever duplicate. I mean, there was tons. I remember, and so do you. The ton of guys that became Stevie Ray Vaughan clones at that time.
Yeah.
And that was a real thing. And so I had already kind of staked my flag in Claptonville,
Right.
right? But I would hang out with the Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, we knew Stevie Ray Vaughan guys, and they were cool, and they would be fun to play with or whatever.
Right.
But I know you were more. You also had that Page Black Crowes kind of more rock and roll side too. Um, but we both obviously loved Stevie Ray Vaughan as well from that time.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to, you know me, I'll play with anybody. I don't care.
Hmm.
Like, I'll go play with a jazz band, or whatever, some big band. I'm quite happy playing with in any of those kinds of situations. I'll go play in a country band. I don't give a shit. I'll go play in a
Yeah,
regular band. I don't care because I'm confident enough that I can do it.
yeah, yeah,
So that's why, like, I tended to, floated around and played with a lot of different people back then.
yeah. I
Even
played with
though
a country band too for a minute that was doing like Garth Brooks stuff and Alan Jackson, and played a few gigs with them, and it was quite fun because the environment in those country bars was kind of cool. But it's a different vibe.
I think I remember you telling me about that actually.
Yeah, just a few gigs. It was it was a totally different group of guys.
Was
Uh,
that like after I was done with school? Was that after Killing Floor?
I think it was, yeah, must have been around that time. I don't 94, 5, 6, somewhere in there. I don't. My memory is gone.
The only thing that I remember, like, from around that time period is like playing with you, like, in the house on Fort Lowell, the Killing Floor house.
Yeah,
We would just get done jamming, and you would leave, and I would think to myself, I wish he was the other guitar player instead of the. That's all I would say to myself, because playing with you was so much easier than playing with the other person, in my opinion.
yeah, mm,
Like, you and I just had our chemistry, to me, has always been unmatched. You've played with a lot of people. I've played with a lot of people, and I'm telling you, for as many people as I've played with, our chemistry is unmatched.
yeah, yeah. No, it's always well. We could just play without a band. I mean, that's mostly what we've done, right? Was just play in your apartment or wherever and just go.
Well, Yeah, that's because we both can sing, so it's not like, well, we needed a vocalist to come in and do what we wanted to do. We would just divide up the songs, kind of like the Archangels when we would play together. Know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, I'll do Mean Old World. You'll do whatever. You know what I'm?
Although, our best moments were actually in those jams with Deacon, I think, at
I was
Berkey's.
I was gonna say, I was very glad that we got that on live, and
Yes,
I
that one recording. Yeah, that's incredible to have that
I would
document
say
from that time.
that was probably our highlight. There was that
Yeah.
incarnation of Donald and Larry.
Yes, where we rolled in there with, yeah, we had leather jackets on and like rolled into the jam session as two young guns, right?
Yes, I had my white SG with my white lightning, matchless white
Yes.
lightning, and
And
you
we went
had
up as a duo. We went up kind of like
right.
you're getting two for one here. We're gonna come up and we're gonna play stepping out and every early in the morning and
We
can't hold
started with
out.
Tulsa time,
Tulsa time, yeah.
and
Yeah,
then Deacon sort of took over.
yeah. Black cat
We
bone.
Black Cat Bone, Low Rider,
Yeah, low rider.
One Way Out, which you'd really never played.
Mm-mm.
So I was just like kind of giving you a quick tutorial as we were
Yeah,
playing,
yeah, yeah.
and then I think that was it. It was like
Hmm.
those 6 or 7 songs, and it was
Yeah,
like
that was a lot for a jam to get that many. But Deacon, I think, liked us. So
Deacon did like us. He respected us because we could play.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, you know, I mean, we put in a lot of time there at Berkey's, or at least I did.
oh, we both did. Yeah,
And, so, and if I remember correctly, there wasn't a lot of people waiting to jam. So he was probably like, okay, well, let's just have these guys do like a mini set or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're showing up on a Wednesday night or whatever to
Yeah,
play.
I mean, like nobody was there.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I think there were like, like not even a handful of people out in the bar actually.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It didn't matter, right? It didn't matter to us.
It didn't matter to us because we got to play with Deacon and a good bass player.
Hmm.
We played with that guy he looked like Lee Sklar.
Yeah,
You remember? Like he had a long white beard and it was kind of bald receding. He looked
yeah.
exactly like Lee
Like Lee
Sklar from
Sklar.
Phil Collins band.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was like, that's crazy. We also played that gig at Jaime's.
Mm.
You're like this is such a bad experience that I blocked it out. You
I
don't
don't know if
even
I remember
remember,
this.
do you? We played a
Mm.
gig as a duo at Jaime's on Fourth Avenue.
Oh, yeah,
Jaime's
yeah, yeah.
Jaime's was to the like if you're across the street at Dairy Queen and you were looking at trolleys, Jaime's was to the left of it.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. We did, and we also played in the cellar.
No,
Yeah, we did. We played one time in the U of A cellar.
Pat and I played in the cellar. I didn't play in
You
the
and
cellar with you.
maybe you blocked it out. We played in the cellar one time together.
Did
Yep.
we?
We did,
Really?
just as a duo, just jamming. Yeah, we just took our Larry's apartment thing and did it for for a
But
live audience in the cellar.
I did that with Pat.
Yeah, you did it with both of us. You're a slutty like that. I didn't mind. Maybe
I
Pat
don't.
did. I don't know.
Yeah, really. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Anyway,
um, I so don't remember that. I
yeah, we
remember
did.
the Jaime's thing
I
just
barely
being
remember that, but I remember we did the same thing in the cellar. We were
well,
probably loud.
The Jaime's
Loud.
thing, we were way more. evolved.
Yeah.
Like we actually were a duo for all intents and purposes. We just took like champs and electric guitars, right? Did we even have acoustics? Or
No, we
you
didn't have
did?
acoustics. I don't
We
think
just
we
did
took
all
acoustics.
electric through the
We would have
champs,
done
right?
we'd have done all electric, yeah. With a little couple not even a pedal board at that time. I think we just had
It's
pedals
like one
on
or
the
two
floor.
pedals, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like whatever. We played the gig. You know,
Oh, yeah, it was
I've heard worse out at bars. I've heard better.
no, I'm sure there was good moments.
I think one of the good moments I remember was probably Same Old Blues.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, which no one would know what that is, right? So
No, I remember your mom being at the gig. I think your mom and Steve was at the gig.
oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. So it'd have been yes, it would have definitely been the Champs.
Yeah.
I wonder if I did I have the Explorer? I may have used the Explorer.
Yes, you did.
I might have been using that at that point, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
76
that was
Explorer
cool.
Red. Yes.
That you got from me?
Yes. That plus a Champ.
Yeah. Great sound.
Yeah, really, I mean, I could have stopped there. Could have just saved myself thousands and thousands of dollars. Because basically right now, the guitar I have isn't far from an Explorer, and I still have a Champ, so
That's cool. So basically, at that point, I think that was like our height of the 96, 97 school year when I moved back down to Tucson for you and I to start some kind of music collaboration because I was
yeah.
just kind of spinning my wheels in
Mm,
Scottsdale, teaching
yeah.
lessons and whatever, and nothing was really going on. So I came back down and we tried to do this thing, and it just kind of, eh, didn't go anywhere really. The
Yeah.
I think the things that we got out of it was like the live mini set with Deacon,
Yes.
and then you encouraged me to just leave the lead singer bullshit behind and just become my own singer, songwriter, guitar player person. Be my own man.
Yeah, because ultimately it's the a big thing that gets in the way of doing this, whether it's for fun or for a living, is just the logistics, right? The more complex the logistics become, the more fragile it is. And so if you have a small group, the logistics are simple. If you're taking control of both singing and playing, boy, you've got two things covered, and you don't even bother with a keyboard player or a rhythm guitar player because half the time they don't show up to the practice anyway. It just becomes much more feasible, right? And um, especially when you're scrapping around for gigs for money and guys maybe don't want to play. I mean, that's always a never-ending story. There's always some guy he doesn't really want to practice and just wants to play gigs that are paid, right?
Right.
And when you're just trying to get something off the ground, it can be very hard to deal with someone like that because they're not really tied in. They don't have a commitment.
It is. That's always been the story here. It's like really good drummers. They always want like a paying gig. Well, guess what? Everybody wants a paying gig. Like,
Yeah.
give me a break. You're not the only like, but you got to start somewhere, dude. You just can't be like, I never understood that. Like, you're showing up and you just expect to get a paying gig. Who the fuck are you? Get real.
Well, but it's not uncommon, and sometimes it's because they are able to do that because there's enough people out there looking for a drummer or a bass
I
player
know. I
that they
know.
can always find a paying gig, and so that's what they do. And then
Because
you,
there's guys like us who need good guys, and like the only way that we can get them is to pay for them out of our pocket.
yeah.
However, when we do that and they don't do the job that we want them to do,
Are you speaking from experience?
I
Sounds like you might be.
am, I am, it becomes very annoying.
Yeah.
Annoying because you're pissing your money away and they're not getting it.
Yeah, well, that's really, and not only your money, but your time and your effort and your sweat
Exactly.
equity,
It's everything. It's everything. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, I look, I played as a hired gun in Virginia. That's all I did. And
yeah.
I was successful at it. I played a shit ton. I mean, these guys here, they don't even realize how much I fucking played in Virginia. But can you please tell them it was a shit ton?
Well, yeah, and not only that, you played with a couple different groups and different styles, like you had said. You played at different venues, but I specifically remember coming to see you with the Stones group,
Oh
and
yeah,
you
you
had,
came to a practice and you came to a gig.
yes, both, and you had that really cool PRS guitar at the time.
Oh, I had the DGT, the David
Yeah,
Griffin guitar.
that
Yeah,
was a very cool guitar. The more that was cool. That was a particular Larry period. Yeah, yeah. Of course, I remember that. I
I
mean,
like the Esquire better, to be honest with you.
I know you did. I know you did. But I just thought that that was a cool. It was different for you, that guitar. That and it actually that could when once again like that guitar that you had. I mean, you, that you're the one who inspired me to get an Asher. And the reason I would even consider it, because I remember you playing that Paul Reed Smith, because we were so both for the longest time in the Gibson Fender. All
Camp.
our heroes play
Yeah.
that. That's all we're gonna play. I won't even consider anything else. But there are other things out there. And like now I play this Asher ES1, and that's my favorite guitar I've ever owned. 90% of the time I'm playing guitar, that's what I play, and I don't want anything else.
Right.
And that was because part of that was seeing you play someone also just as nutty as me in terms of playing Fenders and Gibsons had branched out, and that kind of made me think, well, yeah, maybe I could try something like that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly wasn't the first PRS I'd owned.
But that's
I,
the one I remember you like playing gigging with, and like you liked it, and you were like, this is a good guitar.
yeah, I had. There was a McCarty I had years before that I really liked. That
Yeah.
had was. I don't know if you'd ever saw it. I got it when I was visiting Scott Grant in Chicago one time. I bought it at Making Music. It was the McCarty that had soap bar P90s. It was green
Mm.
and it had white soap bar, cream soap bar P90s.
I don't remember this guitar, no.
Oh, it was cool. I
Yeah.
liked it a lot. I obviously didn't love it, but I did like
Right.
it a lot.
Yeah.
But the DGT was great because it covered so many bases, and being in the Stones band and covering a lot of ground, I needed something like that because I didn't want to be switching guitars.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? At some point, that's me too, and that's why I like the Asher, because it's an humbucker guitar, but it's got the strings through the body like a Fender, right? So it's kind of hybridy, and it doesn't do necessarily either one. It's not a Gibson sound, it's not a Fender sound. It's something in between, but it kind of can move between the two worlds more easily, right? Than a 335 can. Like a 335 sounds like a 335.
Right, right. This to me, this guitar goes between the two worlds a little bit more evenly, I think.
You've just bonded with that guitar in a way that you haven't with anything probably since Greenie, I would say. Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
you're probably right.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you just find something like that that works. I mean, it's rare though. It's rare to find. Usually, it's just a constant search, right, and a constant fiddling. And once you find one that you really like, it's a very satisfying
Agreed. And it
thing.
doesn't and that's the thing, it doesn't have to be like custom shop level.
No,
It doesn't have to be a 4 or 5 or $10,000 guitar. Like I bought this for $1,400. The pickup was 150 or $160 after market.
yeah,
And then it's just been upkeep,
yeah.
regular routine maintenance, just like on a car.
Well, I'm gonna have to run and pick up my daughter from school here. But this has been awesome
Okay, really quick, tell people where they can find you, and you'll have to come back
Yes,
for.
I'd love to come back. Well, we're, Concord 001's the name of the band. We're on all the platforms. So I think I think I sent you the thing. I don't know if
You
you have it
did.
for, so you can click on that one link and find link to our record and hear what we sound like. Obviously talking about Eric Clapton as much as we have, you might notice some of that in the music too.
Definitely, definitely. And what about you, sir, by yourself, away from Concord? Where can they find
Well,
you?
I've got a YouTube channel with some videos that I've put on over the years. I think the most watched video I've ever had is any day I play an Asher guitar and I play along with Any Day by Derek and the Dominoes, which is a really unique song because it's probably the only song Eric ever did in double drop D tuning. And it was a song that fascinated me because I could not figure this song out. And for years I tried to. And then finally I did when I realized it was double drop. It's got some of the weirdest Eric Clapton playing ever. There's no lead. Eric plays the rhythm, but it's the coolest rhythm guitar playing he's ever had done. So if you want to see me um, duplicate Eric, that's the weirdest Eric thing that I've ever learned.
You do Cliffs of Dover though on your YouTube channel though too. Don't you have a video of doing that?
I probably that's I've been
Yeah,
trying for
you do.
years
I've
to.
seen it. That's why I'm
I
saying it.
I butcher that, but yeah, I butcher
You
that, but
do. You did not butcher it. Screw you. You did not butcher it.
there's moments where I don't butcher it, but any day I didn't butcher it all. Any day I'm there. It's like I'm inhabiting Derek.
You guys go check out Donald Mattingly's YouTube channel. All right. I'll post a link to it later. All right. Well, thank you, brother, for being on. I really appreciate you. Love you. We'll
Love
have
you
you
too.
back.
Thank you.
And
This was
it's good
fun.
to see you. All right. Be
You
cool.
too.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
All right.
Ciao.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Ciao.
All right. I hope you guys like that. Uh, that's going to conclude this conversation of all gigs and guitars for now. I'll see you later for my normal stream. All right. Peace out, guys. Be cool. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.